Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Thank you for joining. Today I have another very easy keto fall time bread recipe for you. Technically, it can be eaten anytime, not just fall time. But today I am going to show you how to make one of my favorite breads, pumpkin bread. And of course, we're making it keto style. I love pumpkin bread. You can make it lightly sweet so it can be a breakfast bread and have it with your morning coffee or tea. Or you can make it a little bit sweeter, put a little glaze on it, and it'll be more of a dessert bread. It's awesome. It's wonderful. And if you want a printable version of this recipe, you can check out my website at janet'sdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this recipe and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out new videos. And if you are a music lover, make sure you check out the link in the description to my other YouTube channel, Inspirational Songs with Janet. I've recorded another new song there, so make sure you listen to that and subscribe there also. And if you would like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. So, while we do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line an 8x4-inch loaf pan with parchment paper. Allow the paper to hang over the sides just a little bit so you can easily remove the bread once it's done baking. Lightly grease the parchment paper and the sides of your pan. That way your bread won't stick at all. Then set the pan aside for a minute. In a large mixing bowl, combine 84 grams or around 3/4 cup of coconut flour, 28 grams or around 1/4 cup of finely ground flaxseed meal. I like to use the golden flaxseed meal. 8 grams or around 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 7 grams or around 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk powder. 75 grams or around 6 tablespoons of brown sugar substitute, or you can use granulated sugar substitute. I like the little hint of brown sugar taste in my pumpkin bread. I'm using brown monk fruit sweetener. You can adjust the sweetness of the bread according to your personal taste. If you want it more of a dessert type bread, you can add a little bit more sugar substitute to it. I just want mine very lightly sweetened. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1½ tablespoons of dry pumpkin pie spice mix. I like to make my own spice mix. I just use 1½ teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1 teaspoon of dry allspice. And again, with the seasonings, you can adjust or change the spices according to your personal taste. Sift the dry ingredients all together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps. Add 4 large room temperature eggs. Stir the eggs into the dry ingredients until they're fully combined and all the dry ingredients are moist. Add 20 grams or around 1/4 cup of room temperature plain yogurt. 7 ounces or around 14 tablespoons of pumpkin puree. If you're not using homemade pumpkin puree and you're using canned, make sure that you get the pure pumpkin puree and not the pie filling. Add a 1/2 cup of butter that's been melted and cooled, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla or maple extract. Stir everything together until everything is fully combined and a thick, smooth batter has formed. If you want to, you can fold in some keto chocolate chips or some nuts or any add-ins of your choice. You don't have to. You can just leave the bread plain if you want to. Spoon the batter into your prepared loaf pan. Then spread or press the batter evenly throughout the loaf pan. Make sure that it's nice and even and the top is completely smooth. I like to use a butter knife and kind of go around the edges and just kind of pull the batter a little bit away from the sides. This just helps the bread to be able to breathe a little bit better. You don't necessarily have to do it. It'll still cook okay. I just think that anytime you use psyllium husk powder, you really need your baked good to be able to breathe so that it doesn't have that moist texture in the middle. So I think pulling the batter a little bit away from the edges just gives it a better cook. But again, you don't have to do it. Place the bread in your preheated oven. Bake at 350 degrees for 40 to 50 minutes or until firm and a tester comes out clean. Once the bread is done baking, remove it from the oven and allow it to cool in the pan for about 30 minutes so it can firm up really well. Once the bread is cooled and firm, grasp the overhanging parchment paper and carefully remove the bread from the loaf pan and transfer it to a wire rack. Then allow it to cool on the rack for at least 1 to 2 hours before you slice it. You want to make sure that your bread is fully cooled and all the ingredients and flavor have settled in. I like to let my bread cool on the wire rack overnight. That way everything is really set in and the flavors have set in good. After you've let the bread set for at least 1 to 2 hours, you can slice it and eat it just as it is. If you want this to be more of kind of a dessert type bread, you can top it with a glaze or some cream cheese frosting. I'm just wanting mine just to be kind of like a breakfast bread, so I'm leaving it plain.
All right, here we are with my yummy looking piece of pumpkin bread. Look at that, yummy, yummy, yummy. I didn't put anything on it. You can, of course, put butter, cream cheese, or anything you want on it. I just wanted y'all to be able to see what that looks like on the inside. You can just let this sit for a couple hours before you cut it, or let it sit overnight. I let mine sit overnight because I wanted to make sure that all the ingredients really set in well. So when I cut it open, there's no extra moisture filling. Pumpkin bread is supposed to be moist, so you don't want a dry pumpkin bread, but this isn't like unnecessarily moist. It's the way it's supposed to be, nice and moist like pumpkin bread should be. So it's got a nice, soft, moist texture. I actually made this a couple days ago. I wanted to see how well it would store. Coconut flour baked goods are sometimes they store great, sometimes they store not so great. It just really depends. Usually the breads store good. But anyway, this did store very well. It's still nice and moist, didn't dry out, didn't get all funky, so it stored very well. Now, of course, we got to see if it tastes very well, right? That's what really matters. Yes, definitely. That is very, very, very good. That will go great with my coffee in the mornings. It has a light little sweet taste without being overpowering, a light little spice to it. Tastes like fall in my mouth. It's very tasty, very yummy. And of course, like I said, butter, cream cheese on there would be great too, but it tastes great just by itself. I mean, it's nice and moist, so it's not like you have to have anything on it to add moisture. It's got a nice moist texture, not crumbly. You know, I've talked to you guys before about coconut flour bread. It can be crumbly, but this, not crumbly at all. Not any more than what a bread is supposed to be. You want a little bit of a crumb to a bread when you cut into it, but not where it falls apart. This is great. Just the right amount of moistness, if that's a word, and just the right amount of a tiny little crumb to it. So it is very good. It is a definite, see the thumbs up. Yes, definitely. Love it, love it, love it.
You can eat this immediately. If you do have any leftovers, store it in an airtight container in your refrigerator for up to 1 week, or store it in a freezer-safe container in your freezer for up to 1 month. If you do choose to freeze this, make sure you slice the bread in your desired slices before you put it in the freezer, and then put some parchment paper in between each one of the slices so the slices don't stick together, and you can just take out however many slices you want when you're wanting to eat it. Then eat and enjoy.
And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more recipes like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.